Hello, my name is Kane. This is Castle Tutelage, your home defense network. Several weeks ago, over a month ago, I said I was going to go over some shoot, no shoot scenarios with you, and this is going to be one of those shoot, not shoot scenarios. Again, I am not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be. Use this as information only, and for you to discover it on yourself. Now, when we talk a lot about about the 5 demarcation lines. And I talk about this over and over again. The 5 are innocence, imminence, proportionality, avoidance, and reasonableness. Those are your 5 basic pillars for your self-defense immunity. Now, the first scenario, what I want you guys to do is, I'm going to tell you the scenario, and then I would really appreciate you guys telling me if this is a good shoot or a bad shoot scenario and back it up. This is going to be a teaching moment, and these, this should be one of the more important videos that I do. As far as, castle tutelage, home tutelage, self-defense, and that kind of scenario, but I'll guarantee you this, I bet I won't get more than 100 to 200 views on this in a 2-month period, but it's going to be very important. Again, using innocence, imminence, proportionality, avoidance, and reasonableness, I want you to verbalize through the handwritten word in the reply below. Tell me if this is a good shoot or no shoot scenario, okay? The other thing I would like to say is, usually what people say is, you didn't give a good enough narrative of what's going on. We didn't have all the facts. Well, when you're dealing with general guidelines, you don't need to have every little detail, how the wind was blowing that day, or if there were people behind you. That's not what we're looking for. Again, we are training your knowledge on the 5 demarcations, so if you do ever have a problem, you won't be behind the power curve to try to figure this stuff out. Okay, so this is scenario 1. You're pulling into your apartment complex. You notice this neighbor standing on the 3rd floor balcony. You exit your vehicle, head toward the front door of your 1st floor apartment. Leaning over his balcony, your neighbor, who has threatened you in the past, pulls a knife from his waistband and shouts, "You're dead, man!" Fearing death or great bodily harm, you shoot your neighbor. Okay? That is the scenario. Is this a good shoot, no shoot scenario? I want you to pause and please tell me what you think. In 5 seconds, I will tell you my opinion of this scenario. Okay, so this is the scenario. You're coming into your complex, your apartment complex. You get out of your car, you notice your neighbor that you've had issues with in the past on the 3rd floor. You're moving to your apartment. He pulls out the knife and says, "I'm going to kill you, man." And you, fearing great bodily harm or death, you pulled out your weapon and you shoot him. Is this a good shoot, no shoot scenario? Okay. Well, let's go over the 5 demarcation lines. Okay, innocence. Are you an innocent party? Yes. Even though that you have had conflict with this person in the past, the prosecutor will, in my understanding, is the prosecutor will look at the timeline of this incident and not past bad aggressions. That's what I've read. I'm not a lawyer. Just take that as information only. Okay. So, have you passed the innocent standard? Yes. The next one is imminence. Okay. Imminence basically means that it's not that you've checked off the imminence or all the 5 demarcation lines and say that you can shoot. It is that the standard for imminence is that you must shoot. That the threat of great bodily harm or death of you or a family member or friend is now. It is immediate. So he's on his 3rd floor. You are on your 1st floor. He has a knife. Okay. Now, the scenario doesn't say how far you are, and it really doesn't matter, because are you immediately afraid for your life if the person is on the 3rd floor with a knife? Now, I know some people are going to say, well, he could have been a ninja. And he could have thrown that knife so fast that it would hit you right in the heart and you would collapse and die on the spot. If you know that to be a fact, that he is a martial artist expert, well, I can do that, but that's not what this scenario is saying. So under the eminence demarcation line, he is on the 3rd floor. You're on your 1st floor. It's not reasonable that a person would leap from the 3rd floor and go down to the 1st floor and try to attack you. So in my opinion, that immediance is not appropriate. Okay, so under that, if you don't have all 5 demarcation lines, your self-defense immunity hearing is not going to be going very well for you. Proportionality. Since we've already failed the eminence part of it, you taking out a weapon that shoots bullets to kill a guy with a knife that is on the 3rd floor, you are going to be failing. Okay. The next one, avoidance. I don't care if you are in a stand your ground state. Stand your ground doesn't mean that you sit there like a stubborn mule when you have a path of retreat. It's going to be common in the comments saying, well, I live in a stand your ground state and I don't have to stand my ground because I'm a stubborn mule and I'm just going to sit here and wait for the guy to do something so I can put a cap in him. That's not what stand your ground means. Stand your ground only means that the prosecution is not going to second guess you and have you prove a negative that there was no means of retreat. Under this scenario, yes, you could have retreated outside his throwing area if you actually believed that he was going to be able to throw a knife at you at some point. So under that scenario, under my opinion, that you have failed the avoidance demarcation line, whether you have a stand your ground state or not. Okay, I do live in Minnesota. We do not have a stand your ground doctrine, if you will, and I would have failed that, and you would morally, if you lived in a stand your ground state, you would have morally failed that demarcation line. Reasonableness. I would say that you have also failed the reasonableness standard because of the imminence, proportionality, and avoidance that a reasonable person would take out their gun and shoot them. I think that a reasonable person would have failed that particular demarcation line. Okay? Tell me what you guys think. Tell me that I'm full of crap in these specific areas, but you know something, I will not back down from this position because it is evident that under this scenario, you have failed the imminence, proportionality, avoidance, and reasonableness of your self-defense immunity hearing, and you're going to be in serious trouble. Again, my name is Caden. This is Castle Tutelage, your home defense network. I hope this helped.